Alright, so my topic question or my topic assessment was peer assessment. So now what is peer assessment? Peer assessment allows instructors to share the evaluation of assignments with their students. It is grounded in theories of active learning. So now what does that mean? That means with having a peer assessment, teachers use it and they save time. While they save time, they often have more time to do other things such as create better lesson plans. They could spend more time reviewing the questions after they're done. It is an instant feedback for students. So let's say we are in a classroom just like this, and we all take an exam. Let's say math. Now, since the math is either right or wrong answer, or sometimes you have to show work, when we all grade it, you get Tim's, you get Natalie's, you get Monique's, etc. Now, with that being said, we all grade it, and then you pass it back to the other person, and then you see your grade. Also, with the managing of the time, the teachers could arrange things to make it easier for them. Now with learning, students understand their mistakes and other students' mistakes. So, sort of like what Monique was saying, if you write journals, you see their way of thinking. You understand why they put a certain answer down. And as you're grading papers, you kind of focus more on why certain answers were selected and why certain responses were made. You also see mistakes in their thinking. So as soon as the teacher starts explaining the answers, the student will think, man, I think I put that one down wrong. And then you see the other students answering, and you're like, okay, I definitely got that one wrong, but now I see how I got it right. When doing this, you have to give clear instructions. It can't be a blur. If you have a blur, students sometimes are confused and they ask you, hey, is this right, is this wrong? So the purpose is so students stop seeing a test as a form of punishment. Now, this is for middle school, because sometimes they see a test as a form of punishment, but also without having any tests, you could have assignments and they could understand how to grade. They see the teacher, the effort that the teacher puts. In the future, now they are more likely to recall the events of grading an assignment, and they're like, man, okay, so now I see how my teacher grades, so I'm going to go for better answers. Now, peer assessment can be used to help students realize that there are other students in the class that get answers wrong. So let's just put ourselves in the shoes of back in middle school, elementary, high school. You're grading and grading and grading, and you see that Tim got 6 out of the 10 wrong. And then you see Monique got 4 out of the 10 wrong. You know, that can make you feel somewhat secure because you know that you're not the only one struggling with the test. On the other hand, you could also feel a little bit more confident because you got 9 out of the 10 right, and so got 6 or 7 out of the 10 right, etc. So right here, they won't feel like they're the only ones getting the questions wrong. Now there is a controversy. A lot of the administrations and other teachers do not like it. Well, some, I'm not going to say they don't, but some, they don't like it because they feel that students tell other students grades. So let's say you grade someone's paper and you don't like a certain person. You're like, hey, so-and-so got a 43% on their exam, on their assignment, etc. But also, people think that they overgrade or undergrade. And what that means is, if it's your friend, you might give them a better grade, or if you hate them or dislike them, you might give them a lower grade. Or just in general, because you don't know if they're right or wrong, or if you should mark it. So with that being said, the controversy is kind of invalid because in some research, it says that even though with the over and under grading, the actual scores are within 5% of their actual score. So even with the bias, the students are within 5% of the actual score. So that's not too bad. Now, why do you want to do this? Students are already doing it in different ways. They are, students will get a chance to find out more about assessment culture. So what that means, they understand how to grade. Lectures have less time to assess than before. So you save more time, which leads to better learning. Learning is enhanced when students have contributed to their marking criteria. So as they're marking their answers, they are learning about the criteria. They are learning what was needed. Assessing is a good way to achieve deep learning. So just as I mentioned, the more and more you grade and assess your peers, it helps you understand more points of views, more perceptions. Students can learn from the success of others. Students can learn from others' mistakes. Now here's a video. This is an interview after the students do some peer assessment, and they also interview the teacher.
Peer assessment is when you have a partner and you both look over your work and you say, and you both list the strengths and weaknesses and you fix it.
I feel like I'm next to a teacher, yet I can relate to my peer more because they're basically my age.
It was really helpful because sometimes you don't get your ideas straight and forget to include something. But when you look at the rubric, you know what you have to include.
Yeah, it helped me because I can see what I did wrong for myself, and then my peers or my friends or whatever, they can tell me so that I can become better, and they can also become better from reading my work.
Through this process, my grading over the years has gone higher for all my students. And it's not because I'm being a generous grader, it's because the kids are so involved in the independent process of learning through peer and self-assessment that they are able to really raise their grade to where they feel it needs to be.
Before I was really doing self-assessment, peer assessment, I wasn't really clear to myself what I was teaching. So if I wasn't clear about it, how are the students going to be clear about it? And then when I had to really sit down and think about that, it totally changed my approach to teaching and what the children learn.
So, how do you do peer assessment? One way to do peer assessment is to use the ladder of feedback created by David Perkins of Harvard University. This method provides a process of critique that guides students to generate kind, thoughtful, and effective feedback. The ladder of feedback asks students to formulate their assessments in the following way. First, questions of clarification, such as, am I reading this correctly?
So now with that being said, now in this class we have done a lot of peer assessments. When we do our drafts, we all give each other feedback, and I really like that because you guys tell me what I did wrong, and I tell you what you did wrong, or something I liked. It's not always about being right or wrong. It's just opinions and knowing if you did it or are on the right track. With the discussion boards we had on the first day of class, that is a form of peer assessment. You see their point of views. You just describe your opinions, how you feel about it, and I think peer assessment is a very good thing to have, and everyone should have it in their classroom. Thank you. Any questions?
I was going to say